Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Oh my goodness, welcome everyone. We are so excited to have you here. This is a high vibrational experience every time we are here with Alicia Power. Good morning, Alicia from down under. Hello.
Hello, Loren. Thank you for having me again. The sacred space is a serious blowout for me always. You hold such a space, Loren, and your audience and the spirit world knows it, and they turn it up. They turn up the volume. It's like going into a secret cave. We go into this cave and light explodes. It's amazing. It's all of our souls together.
Yes, all of our souls together. We're already feeling it. I feel it the day of our show, even the days before. All right, so everyone, welcome to this very sacred space. Alicia brings through the creator being. She's been working with these masters for decades, 3 decades at least, and we're going to experience the wisdom. We were chatting and you were sharing with us that you really literally bring forward the message of the moment. So as we start today, this is really important. It's soul clarity, right?
Yes. And it's a little word, it's a little sort of phrase, soul clarity, and we kind of don't have too much reference for it. Much. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, it's just a phrase, and it's kind of vaguely important. But what my spirit guides would love to bring through here today, these senior levels of the worlds of spirit, they want to kind of open a door for us, like a crack in this reality, and help us step out of this reality into this huge, vast, massive continuum of our soul, and introduce us to this vast continuum of our soul. So that this is one of the things they just repeat. I was going to say go on and on and on about it. They repeat this pretty much most of the time. It's kind of like knocking on our door gently, not so gently, to open our awareness, each of us listening, that we are this vast being of light, and that we're walking, talking, kind of pretending to be human. This is a big message of theirs. This is they're telling me to say, a gift from them constantly to help us just step out of the small us into remembering that we are this vast soul of light, and not just words, but the truth that it's the reality. Over and over again, it's kind of like they just so compassionately keep bringing that forward into our front of our mind. Oh yeah, I'm just this vast being of light, here walking, talking as a human. And so today's topic is soul longing. So in the context of us being a vast soul of light and this incongruousness, and I find that these talks, Luann, these tele-summits and the live streams, the monthly live streams, live stream meaning that these creator beings teach for an hour and a half every month. And we're going to be talking about it, and it's part of the special off today. But what I find is that these beings have a theme, and they have a rolling out teaching theme. And every time I speak, they go to the next level. So today is almost like they're picking up from what they've talked about before about the soul being, and that we are this vast being of light. So they want to kind of drill in a little bit further into this topic now about what it feels like to be a human, sort of pretending to be this tiny little human while we are this unlimited being of light, and the incongruousness of it, incongruity of it, that's a better word, incongruity of it.
And so there is something that is wanting to be heard in this conversation. There's a little mic rustle. Is this your microphone here on your shirt? Because we're kind of picking up some feedback.
Oh,
It
it
sounds
could
like
be.
some beings are with us. Shamanically,
Thank you so
that
much.
could be it.
It could be this. Do you know what I'm going to do?
Very shamanic. Kind of
I'm
rattling.
going to just change. Oh, hopefully this will be better because my mic actually, is that a little bit better?
Mostly when you're moving and it's hard to tell what was making that
Yeah.
sound.
Oops, let me a sec. Organizing my earrings. Okay, so hopefully that isn't rustling now because that mic. Hopefully.
Hopefully that's good. Thank you so much. We'll see how that goes.
I am so grateful, Lorraine, that you point that out because it's incredibly important to me that the audio is nice and clear. Good on
Yes,
you.
absolutely. I mean, to me, it was just kind of sending it home, and we really want people to be in a high vibration. And so there's no distractions. Thank you for adjusting it. It sounds good.
I won't be a moment. I'm just going to make sure I'm on the right mic. There we go. I've just changed my mic.
And this is our
And
secret editing thing that we can do. This is why our Zoom audience gets to see all this back end stuff.
I know. Can you hear me clearly now?
Perfect, Alicia. Thank you.
Good, 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 good,
Awesome.
good.
All right, so here we are. We've got great things from the creator beings and being human.
Yes. So let's play. Let's play, everybody. So the theme today is my creative beings would really love to, and apologies for that, would really love to dive into this topic of, in the context of us being such a high being of light, and take a look at a quality of that. Because if we're talking about ourselves, and if the big topic is that we are beyond this reality, that we are this vast being of light, and we are eternal, and there's going to be a time when I always say this, pass over, and we'll come back to being and noticing and seeing and being that vast being of light. So this is just a short time that we have as being a human. And they would love to bring forward into the front of our minds and to focus today in this topic, the force behind our soul and the commitment behind our soul and the drive behind our soul, because it's relevant. It's the reason we've shown up and put on a little spacesuit, which is our human body. And we're being this human. And they speak in very simple terms, these creative beings, but it really packs a punch. It's very relevant and it really hits the core of us. And this is how they work. Because what they do is what they call quote unquote real, meaning that it's not a lofty theoretical thought. They run universes, these overseer beings that I communicate with and that I'm channeling right now. I'm online with them in my mind, so they just give me the words to say. So I just want to say very quickly, and what I want to develop into a context for all of us to gently come into this realization that we have eons and eons and eons and eons of lifetimes of a feeling in us, below all the circumstances that happened in all of our lifetimes. We've had multiple lifetimes. We've had multiple human lifetimes, but we have had about 80% more than the human lifetimes, 80% more than that we've spent as a soul floating in higher realms, experiencing training, experiencing challenges, experiencing tough challenges that we had to pass, to see the scorecard, really honestly. So the soul has been up against it. It's been up against dynamics that force it to choose and force it to learn and force it to grow and move into ever higher fortitude, guys. Good word, age, fortitude. In neon lights. It seems as though fortitude is the thing, is the sort of substance that And all of you are thinking about your life going, oh, OMG, the fortitude I have gained in this lifetime. Maybe that's why you incarnated. And it probably is, just for that substance of fortitude. Okay, so the soul, are you guys hearing me that in the trajectory and the timeline of your soul, this was human lifetimes and the rest was you in realities, or in realms where there was sort of jockeying with shadow energy, for example. Some of you took on roles, decided to take the challenge of working with and touching up against shadow energy and figuring that out and learning about it, not just in human lifetimes, but also as a soul. Letting you know this, I've been an energy worker and dived into human auras for over 30 years in partnership with spirit beings who show me around, and we fly into the worlds of spirit. But also when working with individuals in the past, I don't anymore, but we would fly into their akashic records, of course, and have a look and see, tracking back to the origins of issues. And most of the time when we arrived back at those very soul origin moments of when it emerged into this universe, and then observed its learning curves through that 80% time in the worlds of spirit, in the worlds of light and love, totally fascinating what the learning curves were, and also what the choices were of the soul. So it's how you can talk about colorful characters. We're all colorful characters. We've all gathered this colorful history, not just in human existences. So what I'm doing is blowing out your mind a little bit about who you are as a soul, and that helping you realize that you are eternal, and that there's a purpose and a reason for every single moment of your life, for every day of your life that clicks by, but every moment of your life, because we're doing incremental choicing inside of ourselves constantly. How are we feeling? What are we operating from? What's our operating system? Our computer operating system, where is it at? Is it gathering dust? Is it gathering computer viruses? Is it gathering many spiritual teachers talk about shadow energy that accumulates in the auric field. I work in the auric field. I look in the auric field, so I see what's in there. So there are that many holes, there are that many corridors, there are that many tunnels, there are that many pockets where vibrational shadow sits in our auric field, not just from this lifetime. The ones from this lifetime are really loud, are really cacophonous. They're very sort of jarring, and they make, I think, the strongest influence on the way that you interpret your reality and the way that you react with your reality. But way back in that long tail are those experiences from being a soul floating in the realms of light, and then ancient past lives where we made decisions, good or bad, or we were under the influence, as they say, of shadow, not of alcohol, of shadow. And which, some of us were in Atlantis, some of us were in important moments in collective soul history, in this holographic physical experience that we're all experiencing collectively. Like Atlantis, this is just an example. I'm just saying that was an extreme where teams of shadow, I euphemistically use the word shadow instead of darkness, but in the worlds that there are realms of overseeing shadow beings who were running the Atlantis experiment, or started to take it over and began to just completely control it through humans. This is just an example of us as humans, where we've gone through a human existence and we began to be taken over by shadow because of its agenda. And beautiful, pristine, light souls that we are, we got sort of caught in the web and started just follow a shadow agenda, started to be taken over. It's electromagnetics. It's very a little bit like um, computer software, very much like computer software, guys. I laugh because it is, because I watch how the worlds of spirit work, and um, they work with software which is light, encoded light, and with intention, encoded with intention. And so I'm just describing that we were under the influence. We've experienced bright light. We've experienced being in the highest realms. We've also been experienced being driven or overwhelmed by that software of shadow and drowning in it and not being able to. It's like a web, somebody, you know, in a spider's web, not being able to get out of it. This is the raw truth.
And
And
it's interesting because this is within us. It's a part of us. It's inside of us.
part of our software,
Part of our
these
software,
memories.
these memories.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't it the love a software too?
Love is a software. Light
Okay.
is yes, and it is in the light waves as well. Love. So I'm just describing this because there's been such a variety of experiences. There's just this huge variety. So nobody's pristine. I don't think. If I had a look in somebody's auric field, you know, pretty quickly we'd find ancient akashic records of intense battles and fights. And what I'm talking about is the choices that are made in those moments. And the choices they're telling me to say don't have to actually get sort of activated within that lifetime. You might have to jump out of that lifetime and come around into another lifetime to kind of give yourself another opportunity to come up against something really powerful again, but this time make the choice and rise above it. And this time make the choice and stay in love and stay in the heart. So a colorful history we all have had. And the reason my spirit guides through me right now are getting me to describe it in this way for everybody, because I'm talking about it in a really simplistic terms, an overview. But they are bringing that hypodermic needle kind of, which is not the right thought, but the laser light right on this point of something is driving us, and right through all of those experiences that we've had over and over and over again. We've stood in front of our spirit mentors over and over again in the realms of light high up, and they've gone, you know, this is what you chose, this is what happened. And the penny drops and you go, right, heck. And you start again and give yourself another opportunity. And what happens over time is a lot of compassion for yourself, and gets built up. But along with that compassion, because we've tripped up and scraped our knee over and over again, and along with that, these are words my spirit guides are giving me to say, everybody. Along with that is an echo behind everything, is this gentle force field that sits along with, even the fortitude that we gathered. And that is this, it's like the cry of a child. It's like, it is a longing. And the longing is for light. The longing is for love. The longing is to wake as many individual beings up and to support them and help them. So it's like a great big being coming and trying to help as many beings up into the light. So this, and that is you. You are that great big being. That is the calling in you, and that's the reason you've incarnated. There is a feeling in you of wanting to help, and that's the reason you've become a human. And it's so quiet and deep in your soul. Your soul, in order to incarnate as a human, Your soul is a powerful soul. It's not just any soul. It's a powerful soul, especially if you've incarnated at this time, this kind of juncture in time. So what the beautiful thing is that my spirit guides are getting me to say and inferring here is that there is a reason you've come, and also that reason is incredibly poignant. And yes, excuse me, it is for you to kind of fulfill that longing, but it's also for you to notice you've got the longing. And it's not, again, longing is a little word, right? But what they're trying to point to is that this feeling of longing is eons old. It's not just you, the human longing, it's you, the soul, through all those trainings in the worlds of spirit, tripping over, scraping your knee, getting up again, going back, one lifetime didn't work. You pop out of it and you come back in another lifetime, you try again. And this time to try and here it is, here's the phrase, to augment light. To pull the shades off as many people's perception off as possible, to help them remember that they also are great beings of light, to remember that they also themselves are great beings of light. So the remembering instantly just explodes light in the remembering. So if it, so that is a longing in you to step out there and start broadcasting, like Lorraine likes to broadcast. Like I like to broadcast. And that can be anything. Standing on a soapbox on the corner of your street. Hey, whatever it is, a little email to someone, any moment where you uplift, that's a sacred moment. It'll be remembered in your akashic records. It'll be put on your scoreboard as a soul. One day when you stand back in front of the mentors that love you, know everything about your whole soul, all your soul's journeys, and are supporting you, but they're watching also. There's no judgment. But they're mentoring, meaning that they are nudging and gently giving you opportunities to uplift others, to satisfy the longing of your soul. Yeah.
That is so beautifully said. And yes, it resonates so deeply with our hearts. When we feel this calling, I know everyone watching and listening truly feels this calling. Many of us feel it for the earth. And yet at some point we know we can't. What's the difference? I guess what I'm trying to say is, what's the difference between knowing this calling and wanting to help uplift, but yet also feeling responsible for it, like we have to save the world? Many of us are like, we have to save the world. Can you distinguish?
Very interesting, Lorraine, I must say. Let me just think about that, because I've got quite a few interesting stories about that. So my spirit guides they're so onto this topic today. They're really strong about it today. And they'll say, you've got a very good story, Alicia, but we'll wait for a moment a little bit later on for it. Because they want to talk about, and it relates to what you've just asked, Lorraine. They want to talk about a force, and they want to talk about. It's interesting. They're giving me a whole lot of quick ideas in my mind here. Well, they're saying that every one of those moments where something didn't work in the past akashic records, in the past lifetimes, in experiences when we were up in those realms of light, or actually also down in the realms of shadow. Some of us had to just sit in those realms of shadow for a while too, to figure a few things out even not even being human, you know, just as a soul. So what they're saying is that, and it relates to the software part of what we were talking about, being that light is software. So all of those experiences they're telling me to say are sitting in our force fields, in our personal auric fields, as resonances, as software, which has instruction in it, and it has codes in it, and it's got intelligence, and it's got thought forms, and it's from past incarnations, but also as soul existences. All of that is sitting as a vibrational piece in our auric fields. So you can imagine that it's radiating, and it's impacting on subliminally on your thoughts and feelings constantly. So the drive that I have, for example, to speak or to make videos on YouTube, or to, what is that drive? So just as an example, but for you guys watching this, you all have a drive. You know, somebody might have a drive to be a musician or a doctor, or a drive of some kind, an expression of the soul. All of that, my spirit guides are just telling me right now, is the software that's sitting in your auric field that comes from all your past existences, past lifetimes. And what they're saying is, what's interesting is that the mix of that software is fascinating, because, and here's a little piece that's a bit advanced, and some of you may already be aware of this, but every little piece of software is owned. It's got a little stamp on it, and it's the vibration of it relates to a vibrational being who was involved in the dynamic of it sitting in your auric field, of it getting downloaded into your auric field, even if it's light and love, because there are overseers who oversee the rolling format of your soul's learning. And those overseers also have their vibrational imprint humming in your auric field. At moments where you had a very, very, very intense experience in a past life, something really bad, right? So what I'm going to describe very quickly here is that that was mentored also in the spirit worlds, from the spirit worlds, by shadow beings. The entire experience was mentored and organized. And their vibration is connected to that piece of vibration sitting in your auric field. Okay, this is not a simplistic vibrational system. This is incredibly complex. So ownership is a thing in the worlds of spirit. So our longing as a soul is kind of running down this river or this pipe with tons and tons of fiber optic threads through it. And there's such a mix of vibrations, of ownership of the frequencies that are running down these fiber optics, which is this kind of motherlode of our longing. You guys, I'm trying to describe a lot of this stuff that they're trying to describe something they know about very well, and they're just giving me these words to use. And so it is quite complex. And so our drive and our longing with whatever we love to do, painting, singing, sharing, just being ourselves, you know, however we are, whatever we are in this lifetime, whatever we love in this lifetime, whatever we don't love in this lifetime, that whole mix of who we think we are and the way that we react in our life is sitting on a huge, humongous pile of software that's vibrating and running us, triggering us, motivating us, driving us. So it's very complex, this vibrational pool with so many different flavors and resonances and frequencies. And so the big point they want to say here is that on the front end is our personality, and the way that we as a conscious human are choosing, because we're the tip of the iceberg, and underneath the iceberg is all of this influence. And at the front end, we do have the right to choose
And I'm going to pause here with that word free will, because is it really free with all of that influence sitting behind it? What is freedom? What is free will? And so, but those moments of choosing above all of that influence that could be malevolent somewhere deep in there, that could be pushing us into a negative thought rather than a positive thought at any moment, in a trigger moment. So are we capable? This is a really big question. Are we capable of rising above the influence of sadness, vibration, and frequency that is just embedded in our auric field? Are we capable of rising above, the anxiousness and the fear resonances that are embedded as software in our auric field? It's really good that we're having this conversation, because it's important that all of us understand that this is how things work. It's an electric field, and it's full of pulses of light that are holding software. Okay, so at the front end, as we choose above, as we choose higher, as we choose into love, falling into love, as we choose a momentum and a movement into love and into higher and higher choices of, God help me, I want to lift. God help me, I want to lift higher into my higher soul expression. Reaching up, God help me, I want to become all that I want to, all that I can be in this lifetime. I've got this amount of time, and I want to fulfill my soul's agenda and my soul's longing in this lifetime. I want to fulfill this massive trajectory of influence, of a force of longing from my soul and all of its experiences and all of its choices, over and over and over again, falling and then getting up and then making a choice to love again. And so there is an opportunity beyond and above all of that influence of what's impregnated in our electromagnetic field. This is a huge challenge, but this is the challenge. To keep asking your mentors, who are standing right next to you constantly, to keep asking them, because they do have the capability of intervening and of lifting you, because it's just wiring. So if you ask, this is an incredible shortcut, something I talk about quite a lot. If you ask them, they've got the ability, the skill, the ancient technology, light technicians, to intervene into that frequency soup and to come in and just delete a lot of the shadow, a lot of the fear, a lot of the sadness. Just delete it, so that you're more and more buoyant, and that you're making choices at the front end more and more into that higher you, more and more and more. But what you're wanting to do is, like a surfer, jump on a surfboard and start surfing your higher soul longing. That's what you're actually really wanting to do to maximize this lifetime, to fulfill your soul's agenda. So every morning, what you could do as a tool, as a decision to do this, as a switch, is pause for a moment, swing your legs over your bed, and just pause for a moment, close your eyes. It's not a meditation, it's just a moment with your guides. You turn your attention to your guides and you say, in this day, I want you to intervene and to pull me higher into my soul expression. You see, they're like the genie asking, sort of waiting for you to instruct them. They're not allowed to come in on the free will. Excuse me. Excuse me a moment. Anyway, so swinging your legs over the bed and every morning and giving them the instruction, I would love you to intervene on my software and help me to make choices that are higher and higher and higher, so that I come from that higher soul force, the force of my higher soul longing. And it's just so beautiful talking about this, because it is a force. It's like a river. It's got a huge force, which is relevant, because I'm not sure if We think about that there's a force like a big river to jump into, of this kind of inexorable speed and an inexorable momentum. That's nice, isn't it? It's like if you just jump on a boat on the river, it just takes you. And that is what my spirit guides are sort of pointing at. They're going, jump into it, do it, do it, do it, do it, because you've got an opportunity. You're breathing. You've got a human spacesuit. It's breathing air. You've got an opportunity to feel emotions, thoughts, choices. How are you going to operate today? And they're saying, this is such an opportunity every day. You might not see anyone throughout that day. You know, you might be just quietly at home. But guess what, everyone? You could pull out a journal and start writing and start creating this incredible echo chamber of you consciously making choices and writing things out. Your logical mind and your eyes, your conscious self is watching what you're writing, but your spirit guides, you've invited your spirit guides in, and suddenly that explodes into visions and decisions and momentum and choices, and you may just start a whole new project just from that moment of journaling. Just saying that things can happen. The other thing you can do if you're just alone at home, just this is an example, is close your eyes and invite your spirit guides to come in and clean your auric field as much as possible, because that creates, again, an amplification force of a higher level of light, type of light, that they can then download into your auric field, that then transmits into the collective field. That's just something that all of us can do, everyone can do.
Yes, we certainly have a lot of clearing going on, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
clearing to do. And, comments that are in our chat, we can't help anybody but ourselves. That's a beautiful reminder as well. Beautiful. When we work with our guides and ask them to assist us, this is how we bring new earth, this connection to information on a soul level will come forth into new ideas, right? But we can't take this baggage with us. I think each of us can look back in our life and maybe identify, let's call it a program of shadow, where it's a distortion really, and we can maybe, okay, for an example, as a child, if we weren't given exactly what we wanted and we really wanted it, and maybe it was humiliating or something was traumatic about it, but we carried that with us. And you know we can look in our life and see how it has affected us later, as a teenager, as a young adult, even in the workforce that we may have been in. I personally have done that. And so to be free of this here and now is literally overhauling the, I don't want to say it's overhauling the Akashic records, but it is clearing out the auric field. So what you're saying is we can ask for our creator, the spirit guides, to come in and assist us with this. And when we release it, is there anything else that we should do? Are we going to see things shift immediately? I mean, that love right there is really the reason why we've incarnated, is to be able to shift it into the higher vibrations of love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Look, I do have a history. It's just one of the biggest things that I do and I talk about, which is clearing the electromagnetic field. It's just, that's the thing. That's my profession. That's what I do, day in, day out. And so your question, Lorraine, is beautiful. So let's just jump into that, which is, is there an instant shift? Yes, there is. Instant. Your thoughts change instantly. Your
The
no,
thought.
really, and your how you feel changes instantly. I don't know about any other spiritual healing, but the spiritual healing that I've been doing for a long, long time, for decades, is in partnership with creator beings, with senior levels of the worlds of spirit and their lineages of light, and the technician lineages that they work with. And all of you on this call are more than welcome, and we'll probably do a connection process in a moment with this lineage and with these creator beings. What I'm referring to here is that the technicians that I've worked with, the spirit technicians, are super accelerated. And when I'm talking about a shift, the beings that I work with create a shift just like that. So, and every day I experience it, Lorraine, every single day, where I'm feeling like something has some lower force field, some lower shadow patch has jumped into my auric field, or I'm running a slightly lower thought loop. And I'm going, wow, what's that? Because I can notice it in my thinking.
Yes.
And I'm onto it just immediately because it's so foreign. It's like, oh gosh, that's a very pessimistic little reaction there that I had about something, like a reaction. And for me, immediately, I just know it's a software patch that's just running and is controlling my reaction in that moment. And so I will immediately invite one of the many teams that I work with to immediately go hunting for it in my auric field, pull it out, and I'm pretty much a different person within 30 seconds.
Oh.
So and my attitude and the levity, I'm just elevated and I'm relaxed and I'm comfortable in myself, and there's no loop, the loop's gone, and I'm not even thinking about that weird obsessive issue, whatever it was, it's gone.
Yes, and so awareness and stopping yourself is key. I mean, the awareness that if you're not in that bliss and that love mode, which is our natural, well, my goodness, oh my gosh, I could say so many of us came in and started this with exactly the opposite. So we are making headway into this awareness in every moment. That really is the work. Do you find that it gets easier?
The more practiced you are, it becomes kind of a passion to observe your base of self-love and whether you're sitting in empowerment or disempowerment. So it becomes becomes the thing, because we know that we are the what's the word? It's like the transformer, or we are where everything's coming from, where realities are springing from, where our perception of realities is springing from. You know, the hologram is getting generated from inside of ourselves. So the crucible, we are the crucible. So it's my life's work to watch my own crucible and to just just observe it and to support it and to love it and to keep it clean and to keep it elevated and to keep it available for service.
Available for service. Such a beautiful reminder because, all of us can come off the tracks and have a pity party every now and then. There's so much going on that can be distracting for us. What you're saying, though, is the assistance that we have, remembering to ask instead of spending, a couple of hours or a day in a pity party, it can be cleared out of us pretty instantly.
Very quickly.
Cultivating this self-love for ourselves, and that is really very important.
We're walking in a quantum soup, and depending on where you live, if you're living in an urban environment or in the countryside, there's more, is the right word, proclivity? It's there will tend to be different types of shadow software force fields floating in that quantum environment around you, and so we work hard. We've got to work hard. It's just something that I love doing. I'm onto it. I'm onto observing how my human system is operating, how my brain's operating, how my emotions are operating, how my how I'm feeling at any moment is operating. I'm just observing it because I'm so interested, because I've just, if you've done something a lot, you're interested in it. So I'm really interested in how the spirit world works and how the spirit world is influencing the mechanism of me as a human, right? So I'm kind of interested in that. Because I look into that a lot. I'm looking into the worlds of spirit a lot. I'm looking into my auric field a lot and into other people's auric fields a lot. So I'm very curious about it, and I'm just junior compared to these technicians who, in half a second, seriously, like in half a minute, can just pull out just a huge patch of shadow and just put me back on my feet, so that my system is comfortable again and relaxed and happy. And positive and optimistic, and gosh, I mean, it's just a big topic that I could just chat about for so long. But I just want to say that not only just how to feel good, but, and my spirit guides are nudging me to say this, is that they and I work a lot with upgrading my software daily so that I'm not sitting in my lower self, but in my higher self. So it's not just about negative thoughts or feeling low and anxious or having an uncomfortable feeling inside yourself. No, it's also about pretty much like I just described, actually, when we're sitting on our bed and asking to be pulled up into that highest slipstream of a force from our soul, right? So, but it is a software situation in the sense that there are many times, most days, where my technician guides say to me, Alicia, what they call, and some of you who follow my work know that I use this word choice, or these teams use the word choice. It's a term that they put on software. So you can have a lower choice and a higher choice. It's for us, choice is a verb, or it's a noun, isn't it? But to them, it's a signifier of a type of vibration. It's your level of choice. And so they quite often, most days, let me know that I'm sitting in a less optimal level of choice. And they want to bring me up into a higher, more optimal level of choice, so that from where I'm coming from during the day is much more from that higher self, from that higher soul. Because otherwise I'll be coming from a slightly lower part of myself and not even aligning with visions, or not even motivated towards higher projects, or getting lateral thinking and creative about certain projects which align with my soul agenda. So they are onto it. They're helping me with that, and I think they're telling me to say this is a topic that they're really keen to help everybody listening realize that this is something they can do for you. They don't live your life for you, but they know that we are up against it. In this lifetime we're in, I quite often say, the Kali Yuga, which is the age of darkness. There's a lot of shadow in the quantum fields around us, in our own akashic records. We're up against it, right? We're like moving against the tide quite a lot of the time, and we do need support, and they are available. And so these are master technicians. In the twinkling of an eye, they will put software in there that just merges your conscious self and your conscious choices and the way you're thinking up into what they call a higher choice. And suddenly you're radiating, you're feeling connected to that higher part of you, the higher wisdom, the higher sense of who you are. You can feel it more, you're based in that more. So it's a beautiful thing. Where would I be without it?
You're onto it. You're onto it.
So I'm just
Yeah.
saying that, and I do believe that this is almost in a way that they're just coming around to saying, hey, everyone watching and listening, this is for you too. This is available for you too.
We're onto it. Yes. I mean, I'm going to remember you saying that. So every time, I mean, it's just a whole new, fresh perspective as well, to look and take it as an opportunity to call and ask for the help. to remove it. So this has been beautiful. Let's do a process with you to bring in the master technicians
Let's do
and
it.
assist us. You know, there's a question in our Q&A box. How do you work with shadow? And this may come through the transmission. How do you work with shadow self so you stay in your heart, feel whole and complete in yourself? And how can I fill this longing for light and love when I sometimes find myself to that small human mind theme? I think that's big for a lot of us. How do you transcend those shadow and mental aspects? And this person adds, there's a fear to step out and be seen. And that is with many of us, I'm certain. So with that, we will let you bring in the master technician.
Let's do it, everybody. Wait me a moment. I'm just tuning in. One last thing they want to say, and that is that every single one of you watching this is seen very deeply, deep into your akashic records, into the soul that you are beyond this lifetime. So you're seen. Someone sees you and knows you. You're not alone in this lifetime. It's the big message they want to quietly let you know, and that's the truth. And they're also saying and asking me to say that they are in attendance with you. They're right next to you and aware of you and available to you. Right, everyone closing your eyes. Let's play. Oh, my spirit guides are telling me this is going to be so sacred. All right. And they're asking me to thank all of you for being here on this call. All right, so they are suggesting that you use your pretend and imagination mode. Let go of your logic. Don't try and do anything right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. The best way to do this is just use your imagination. So just pretend there's a being standing in front of you. If you feel comfortable, you can put your forehead forward, lean forward, and their forehead and your forehead can connect, because I hold a very strong force field of light. This being is safe. They are actually a highly advanced high authority being already. They are an escort, sort of a journey buddy with you today. So they're reaching their hand out. Reach your hand out and take their hand, and just slowly notice that you and they are elevating, going up slowly, just lifting up gently together, starting to be lifted up, pulled upwards, just slowly. I always say, like Peter Pan and Wendy, just nice and slow. Gosh, and there's so much compassion. This being is gently squeezing your hand and letting you know that they know everything. They know exactly who you are and what this moment's about. And above you is like a big bubble of light, and it's a force field, but it's also a little kind of spaceship of yours. So where you and this being are gently moving up through the bottom membrane of this bubble and up into the bubble. And immediately you are taken up into space inside this bubble, this force field. And in the distance is like a small, tiny little twinkling star, little starburst of light. And we're moving at hypersonic speed. So we're actually moving at the speed of light, and we're now coming really close to the starburst. And our bubble with ourselves and our escort being is very gently coming straight into the center of this powerful light starburst of light. Into the center of it, it's very right. This is like a light bath at the moment. We're just getting imbued with the light from this starburst. It's very specific light. It's actually specific software. It's cleaning us, upgrading us. It's a beautiful little software upgrade. Our auric field's getting renovated just very quickly. So beautiful. And now on your right, another being is quietly standing there, observing you, very tall. And this is a creator being. Your beautiful escort spirit being is just to one side on the left, holding the space. So turn your attention to this tall creator being, spirit being standing there. This is an incredibly poignant moment because there's a lot to be said between you and this creator being. Remember, I talked about the mentors who watch us travel through all of our experiences as a soul. This is not one of those mentors. This is much higher. But having said that, this being actually knows everything about your soul as well. So it's beautifully love-filled and poignant. You know that you are known, understood as a soul. And this being is actually scanning you, reading everything as well, taking a look at the detail in your auric field, which is like a storybook for them. Oh, and what this being is looking at are two or three of those big sort of shadow fear moments in past existences, maybe even before human existences. They're looking at those moments that are still resonating as patches of shadow sitting there and beep, 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 radiating into your current consciousness. And this being is quite interested in just deleting it and switching it off, switching these shadow patches off. Haven't started doing it yet, but they're quite interested in doing that. So just studying and looking. And remember how I mentioned that all software has an ownership imprint on it. So they're reading those ownership papers to see what influenced that shadow patch to be sitting there. So they're reading all that. This creator being is incredibly high in its authority, meaning that, my goodness, when it does notice who was involved in generating some kind of a sadness experience for you somewhere in your journey as a soul, it has the authority to do some big changes around that, to travel up to who those teams of beings were that were involved in that and to make changes there. So you're in incredibly high authority hands right now. Won't be a moment. They're wanting to make sure that everything has been looked at and understood before they go in and start shifting. That's why we always, whenever we're working like this as a group, I always let everybody know that it's the scanning moment that takes a little moment, because the actual transmutations are really fast when they move into action. Won't be a moment, they're still reading because they want to get it right, they're telling me. All right, so they're also letting me know, for all of you guys listening, that what they're about to do is a real gift. I mean, goodness gracious me, to travel into your akashic records and to find quite a hefty patch of shadow that is so uniquely sitting there in your soul history, and for them to make a transmutation on that, it's once in a lifetime gift, I tell you. So they're just letting you know that this is major, major gift. So what they're letting me know is that they're deciding just to go on one or maybe two. They're not going to do three because they can see that these are all of them they're looking at are big, really big influences on absolutely things that make you hesitate to be seen. Right there. That's exactly the kind of reactions that happen in your life because of these big wound moments. Right. So they are ready, everyone. So we're just going to go quiet just for a moment. And they're going to travel deep, deep. They're telling me they're going to take teams with them, teams of technicians, big teams, actually armies of technicians, because they want everything to happen quite quickly. All right. I'm just going to go quiet. And they're telling me to tell you that if you do have an issue about being seen in your power and in your light as a soul, if you've got an issue with that, if you could talk to them silently in your mind right now, because they would love to have that instruction traveling along as they're doing this work. It's quite a specific one, but they would love to rewire that for you. And they're talking to me in my mind and talking about sadness. They're saying they're really going to go for the vibration of sadness as something they're going to siphon out in these ancient akashic records right here and the patch that they're working with. They're saying because sadness puts a huge brake on soul longing and the expression of soul longing. It's a true wound of the soul, sadness is. I'm watching a lot of things happening, but they're asking me not to talk out loud because it'll sort of kind of cut in on what they're doing. But oh my gosh, incredibly beautiful what I'm watching them do. They're now at the stage where they're downloading light software in the space where all that shadow was. They're allowing me to talk now. Oh my god, that was incredible. So much smoke. Like to me, it looks like smoke where just the deepest shadow was just being siphoned out. Oh my gosh. And then they were looking at a string, like a string of pearls of the influence that that soul wound had through many lifetimes. So they were kind of moving through a string of those lifetimes, the impact echoing through those other lifetimes as well. There's just so much. Oh my gosh. And so a lot was done, and right now they're just pouring light into the area that they've just done a ton of surgery on. And it was quite grungy and gungy. It wasn't nice. The stuff that they were pulling out was really like yuck. Sort of like as a group, it was just all pouring out. Ugh. Anyway, that's all being worked with, and it's been vacuumed out, and we're on the second stage now, which is the download and displacement, and putting in new software. I'm still working on that. It was a very, very big healing, very big surgery has just happened. And just letting you know, because it was a huge gift. They wanted to give you this gift. They want to create a springboard for you with your soul longing in this lifetime. So they wanted to give this gift today, this substantial, big healing today with your soul. And we're still there. We're still getting on the receiving end of very specific new choice, consciousness, software that's getting downloaded to replace a big area that was influenced by sadness. So it's like pouring golden light, liquid golden light into this big hole. That's what they're doing right now. Wow. So they're saying, everyone, you can open your eyes now and take a deep breath. They're still working, but it's like suddenly it's like we're allowed to come back.
Oh, goodness. We do feel fortified from that. I do want to say, I hope everyone is feeling it. Really interesting there. It would be interesting to see what other people felt with that. But when the scan was going on in the first part, I think towards the beginning, I felt really hot. And that was really amazing. And there's no worries right now. It feels very peaceful here. And that's good. I hope everyone can feel that. Amazing. As you were seeing it, it feels like we were scrubbed, like the aura was like scrubbed.
So scrubbed. It was so scrubbed. It was like, sometimes I'm talking about hypodermic needles going in, and they pull out, but this time it was like many, many big concrete drills, like really a very big process.
And the
Yeah.
sadness, I mean, it was really interesting with the sadness. I felt that. And so as we were, I hope everyone was sharing alongside, this not wanting to be seen. That's such a big one. And communicating with the spirit guides. I mean, it goes down to caring about what other people think of us. And I could see the timeline very ancient with me, and it feels relieved to be done with that. I hope we're done with it. That's such a deep wound. Are we fortified completely from this? Or if we're not, we have to ask for more assistance.
Mm-hmm. And also everyone, you can always just re-listen to this replay and go in again, and the spirit teams will see the work that's already been done in that area, and will continue in that area, in that very specific spot, where, yeah, gosh, we have handled so much as a soul in our soul history. We've handled so much, like we've hung on and just kept going and kept showing up and kept rebirthing, and we're back here again. And we've got so much courage. My spirit teams, my spirit guides are asking me to say to you that you've got so much courage, and they thank you for your courage, and you're here again in your human body, and you've got an opportunity to love with such purity, with such purity, with such heart, and with such, with purity comes a naivety. It comes innocence. So the road back to innocence, the road back to the willingness to love unconditionally. So it's a huge. That's the journey. There's value in that. There's value in that innocence and in that naivety, because in the end, there's just you and God. Yeah, just between you and Source. In the end. And so the road back to innocence is the journey. It's the road back to the elevation of the heart.
Alicia, I know that I would like to say that all of us watching and listening on the other side, before we came into this incarnation, we did choose it. And I just see many of us laughing at this simple concept of, can you really make different choices? Can you choose to love in a higher order? And I know that we not only raised our hand, but we said, ha ha, how simple is that? Yes, we can do it. So I think if we remember that, that might be really helpful, because it is so simple, isn't it? Just to
Yes,
choose something that's different. And that is what makes me the eternal optimist that we're going to get there, that we're doing it no matter what we see in the external world. That's where all of us are stepping up to help others do it as well once we get this within ourselves. So
that's
we'll
right.
get there. There is a question. Can you please speak of inviting in the beings, your spirit beings, the creator beings, as opposed to calling in the archangels to do the same work? Is there a difference between them doing this or the archangels doing it?
There is quite a difference. The worlds of spirit are delineated into different tribes and different levels of authority. And so the creator beings that I worked with, I've been passed up to not just the creator being that oversees this universe, but creator beings who oversee the creation of all universes. At the moment, that's where they are playing with me and mentoring me. And archangels have got their own specific roles. They are keepers of resonance and extremely powerful too. All beings of light, all beings of my spirit guides use the term that, which is it sits above that which is not and that which is the dynamic of light and dark. And above that is that. I use this word that to kind of talk about source above the dynamics of light and dark. But all beings of that are technicians in the worlds of spirit. All beings in the worlds of spirit can see the electromagnetic fields. So archangels, I can't speak a lot about them because I haven't studied them, but I do know that in the lineage, all the teams and the technician teams that work in the lineage of the creator beings that I work with have got intense speed with which they work. It's like unbelievable speed and acceleration. My gosh, I have worked with the archangels as well, and I just so love them, and I use them as well sometimes, but most of the time I'm sitting in the beam of this lineage of the creator beings, because it's clean. It's very, very clean. They understand shadow. They are way above it. They've got the authority over it, and their authority is extremely, extremely high, meaning that the light that comes from them is so intense, is so intense. So how to connect with them? I quite often, if you haven't jumped into any of my courses or played with any of my processes before, and if you're just meeting me for the first time, I suggest that you, because in your mind you've got a reference point, so you could say you could call on, you can say I call on Alicia's creator beings, and close your eyes. And it is useful to jump into a recorded audio voice process where I'm taking you, because there's an extra force field there to help you go in and take you up. But also just in your own mind, Alicia's creator beings, because it's a reference. It's a matrix, and they know what you're calling for, because it's quite specific. Your mind's attention's on it, and they come on that. So you can use that as a term.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say, words are quite important when you're using verbiage, words. When you're using when you're calling for very specific parts of the worlds of spirit. It's something I love to teach, that it's very important to actually ask for something quite specific in the worlds of spirit, not just vague, because anything can show up. I mean, generally, if your auric field's quite clean, the right guys will show up. They can see you. But if your auric field's very compacted, you haven't done much energy healing, you haven't been on your spiritual path for a long time, you've just started, usually there's just like you were saying, actually, Lorraine, you haven't done therapy, you haven't sort of had a look, you haven't started sort of creating awakeness to your own process. Usually there's a lot of shadow compacted. And it's very important to be specific when you're calling on the worlds of spirit, I think. Yes. After a long time, after 3 decades of playing with them.
Thank you for that. Well, we feel buoyant, actually. Ooh. We do feel fortified. Really quite wonderful, this session today. Our vibrations are lifted, and we feel it. And so we
Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Yes. So thank you. I'm going to put in the Zoom a special offer, and I want to let everyone know about what's going on here with this offer. It is so cool because it's your live streams that you do every month with the creator beings. Not only that, but it's each of us can work 6 months closer with our guides. That's something that you've got for us. So in the Zoom link, I've put the link for that offer. And tell us about this, because just coming up in 2 days from now, there's a live stream with you. And this is really more of a higher self embodiment, actually.
Wow. Oh, gosh. So this live stream coming up on Saturday is going to be incredibly powerful. There is my spirit teams, we've been working incredibly hard, actually. There's been a lot of shadow flying around. Sometimes I wonder how much I can say, in public forums, and I shouldn't hold back. Okay, so, shadow's been really bashing in the behind the scenes just recently, and just trying to own the space. And many of us have been calling for help, and so these overseer beings, these creator beings, have just quietly mentioned that at the end of December, around the end of December, there's going to be a huge band of light, a force field of light arriving from the creator levels to intervene on this encroachment of shadow on the collective of humanity. They really, really, really want to put a good boot behind this kind of encroachment of shadow. Excuse me. And this Saturday, on this Friday night at 9 p.m. ET, anyone who comes onto this 1.5 hour regular monthly deep soul wound healing channeled workshop, they're going to be focusing on preparing our light bodies for this moment when this wave of light comes in at the end of December. So we'll be vibrationally attuned and vibrationally aligned with this new light wave coming in. And as always, it's just a mind blower. It always is, every single time. It's just incredible. We're always left kind of going, can it get any better? And it just keeps getting better every single time, every month. It's always kind of like, how did this happen? It's always incredible. So that's on Saturday, and the special offer is you are welcome to purchase a package of 6 rolling 6 months package of these 1.5 hour monthly workshops coming through. And also we are starting a new program. I'm really excited about it. It's been my life's passion, which is teaching people how to clearly hear the worlds of spirit and how to clearly hear their own personal spirit guides so that they're having conversations. Because the conversations, that's what galvanized me right from the get-go when I started, right from the beginning. When I started to have my conversations with my guides, I went, how long's this been going on? How come every human on the planet isn't having their conversations with their guides? And I'm really good at it, and I really understand the technology of it, what's happening in your mind. And I've got courses also, advanced course and a little intro course for people to learn. But this is not a course. This is a monthly practice. We're going to jump in for 30 minutes, and I'm going to, oh my God, it's just going to be just delicious. I'm just going to be helping you dock like a spaceship every time. See, the reason I got really good is I practiced, and I was really deliberate because I knew that there was a major master being wanting to talk to me behind the veil. And it was up to me to kind of get good at hearing this being because I wanted to ask questions.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was my motivation. So I'm highly motivated to get as many humans as possible talking two-way with their spirit guides. And so 30 minutes on the first Wednesday of every month, 9 p.m. ET it always is. And you're more than welcome. It's called Dialogue with Your Spirit, with your guide, Dialogue with Your Guide. And I'm going to be in there helping you dock and connect with your guide and open, giving you lots of tips and tools and open the two-way. And the more you do it, you guys, it's like getting on a bike. The more you do it, the better it gets. You just get used to it. That's the purpose of this monthly practice, over and over and over again. If you're already advanced talking to your guide, the force field will take you deeper. You'll have an opportunity to sit in a force field, a very powerful spirit force field, where it's clearer. So, and that's a joy, having a quiet, still moment where you're really perceiving your guide and having an easy conversation with them. So I'm excited by that. So that's part of package 2. There's 2 packages. Package 1 is just the live stream for 6 months. Package 2 is both those 6 months of both those going forward.
Beautiful. You know, really, as we build our new earth, this is the information from our hearts that we can use to express ourselves and create the ideas. This connection with our guides is the solution energy for our planet. And so it is vital that we learn how to do it. And we thank you for sharing your skills in helping us to do that as well. Again, I have put the link for that right here in this Zoom box. And it's also on this webpage and in the description box for this video, wherever you're watching it. Alicia, thank you so much for this. We are excited to be with you every month. The vibration that you help us achieve is exquisite. We
Thank
feel
you.
so good, and we have the support as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you for this quantum conversation. As we say goodbye, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, my spirit guides want every one of you watching this to know that you're loved and that you're not alone and that you are that vast being of light, longing to go home actually as well, and to become that vast being of light and to come home and be welcomed by all your tribe and family of light beings that know you very well. You know, you've got that longing too, but you know, you're here, you're breathing human breath, you're here as a human, and in this time you have an opportunity to shine, to love, to connect with your spirit guides, and to become that higher you in every way, in everything you say, in the way that you are, being, doing, loving, and being that. Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for being here today.
Alicia Power, thank you, thank you, thank you for this quantum conversation. And everyone, thank you for your bright light. Thank you for showing up in our world with solution energy, with the love in your heart, and for clearing and doing this inner work. We know it's not so easy, but we thank you for it. We feel elevated, and we thank you all for sharing. Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you,
Namaste.
Lorraine. Thank you, dear.
Bye, everyone. Again, if you would like Alicia's special offer, please check it out. We hope to see you there. Namaste. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.